Good morning. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been removed as the Manchester United manager. Heavy talks this morning from the likes of Samuel Luckhurst, Laurie Whitwell, Fabrizio Romano, that Darren Fletcher, along with Michael Carrick, will take over as a short-term interim until a more permanent solution is found by the football club. Talks with Zinedine Zidane continue. A number of the other managers have been linked to the job as well, including Laurent Blanc. We'll take a look at the current odds via our partners at Bet Victor in relation to this. But I do want to speak to you, the fans, this morning. Remember, the only fan channel that every single day allows you to phone in and have your say and talk about these matters. There's a number of questions that I want to pose, rivals included in relation to this. I want to know whether who you think should replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is Darren Fletcher the right man as interim, short, medium, or long term? Could history end up repeating itself with this process? If we don't employ the permanent manager straight away, what could happen? Equally, are rivals worried? Are rivals worried now about a new manager bounce? Chelsea up next, Arsenal on the horizon as well. It does look as though right now that Darren Fletcher will come in for at very least the Villarreal game to manage Manchester United. That game kicks off in just over 48 hours time. I want to hear from you. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. We're going to share the link for you to phone in now in the live comment section of the chat. So get yourselves on. We want to hear from you today. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as we know, is now sacked. He is no longer the Manchester United manager. It is over. It is done. Let's have a look at some of your comments here. Sign Fletcher or Carrick on a permanent deal, please. They're perfect for the job, is what Ronnie's got to say. That poll needs another option. Hell no. Look, I'm going to say this. I'll be really honest about it. For one or two games, Darren Fletcher isn't a problem. Darren Fletcher as a short-term interim is not a problem. I think we've got to drop the word interim and go back to calling it what it really is, a caretaker manager with no appetite to turn it permanent at all. My only fear within any interim, whether it's Fletcher, Laurent Blanc, whoever, is that it turns into the permanent move. If you miss out on your number one target, you go for your second target. If you can't get the second, you go to the third. If you have to wait 6 months to get your primary target or primary two targets, I think you wait. I don't think Man United should panic into this at all. Results under the interim are going to be key here to making this happen. We should be moving heaven and earth to make that permanent appointment now. So if somebody's willing to join in the summer, let's make them a big enough offer. Let's put our hands in our pocket to ensure that we can get that individual in now. But Darren Fletcher in the short term for me isn't something that I'm going to personally get angry about, moan about, become overly fixated on. That's just me personally. I'm not going to do that. But I understand why some people will. I understand because, history repeating itself, etc., is always going to kind of stand out in people's minds. That's always going to be it. You got someone laughing here at Fletcher in. I understand that. I understand why rivals are not going to be worried about him. Isn't Ralph Rangnick available? It's a really good question. The situation with Ralph Rangnick, as I understand it to be through reports that I've read, is more so to do with the fact that he wants a permanent role at the club after an interim appointment, and it doesn't look like Man United are willing to offer him that. So it stops it from happening. I think that's a huge mistake. I think someone like him with the opportunity to go upstairs afterwards. Honestly, if we said Ralph Rangnick to the end of the season, then he becomes the new Woodward in terms of footballing decisions, that legitimately would be the best piece of news possible. That would be the best piece of news possible. There's no doubt about that at all in my mind. That would be a sensational piece of business. It really would be. It really would be. One sec, people. It really would be a sensational piece of business, in my opinion. That directorship would be massive. There's a comment here that says, "Will we see what happened we will see what happens in the future. I don't care about worrying about our new manager. I just want to laugh at you now. You guys have shrunk to the lowest. And I understand that. And I understand why people would, want to laugh at Manchester United and everything else. I totally get that. It makes complete sense to me why rivals want to laugh at that, why rivals want to have a pop at that, why rivals are having a go at us. Are any of our rivals, though, concerned about what could now happen from a Man United standpoint? Now, you've all been telling us you've been celebrating every victory for a year under Ole because it keeps him there. He's no longer the manager. I really want to know what you think and feel. Strongest civilian here says sentiment FC equal Man United. See, I don't think there's any sentiment in the Darren Fletcher appointment. If I'm being really honest, I think the Darren Fletcher situation makes sense until the new person's here. I'll tell you what the focus here should be. Isn't Darren Fletcher the interim? The focus here should be the Glazers. Like, legitimately, it should be the Glazers. That's where the focus has to be, because it feels a bit, when you read the report today in The Athletic, a great article by Laurie Whitwell, it feels as though things are, that the Glazers are flapping. We don't quite know what to do. We don't quite know what's going on. What have they been doing in these last few weeks? There should be a plan of action right now. There's even when I read yesterday and was told that part of the meetings yesterday evening were to look at what they had to pay Ole in a severance package. How has that not been discussed in recent weeks? Something doesn't quite feel right. And this could be the media drumming up a little bit of excitement, which is part of their job. But at the same time, I always felt that Darren Fletcher would come in the short term. I was never against it. We have to focus now on what the Glazers do from a permanent standpoint. Are we bringing in and are we landing primary targets? I truly hope there's links to the Sevilla manager. Yeah, come on, aim bigger. Who wants him? He ain't of the class of manager we need. Laurent Blanc is an interim if he does the rest of the season after Fletcher. Cool, but he ain't a world-class manager. Aim above that. Darren Fletcher, I don't care how well he does. Aim above that. Man United need to go out there, use their pull and their power, consult with the right people, and bring in the very best manager for the job. Right now, people say the top 3 managers in the world are Tuchel, Pep, and Klopp. And I'm not even going to debate it. Let's just say they are. None of them are attainable. Conte is not attainable, so they're off the cards. So maybe we can't get the best 1, 2, 3 managers in the world. Who's the very next best? Pay him or her what they want. Give their wife what they want. Get the interpreters in. Get the coaching staff in that they need. Get the job done. If we have to wait 6 months for that perfect appointment to happen, let's wait. But in the meantime, let's get the interim in place that we know can galvanize this squad and can move us forward. The Glazers' actions here are more key to me than anything else. Twisted here says Zidane or bust. And you know what? I completely hear you on that. Zidane, for me, has to be the number 1 target. Lots of talk about United going back in for him and trying to get this done. There are also rumors that that it's almost impossible. He doesn't want to join. And if it is, then I go in the other direction. Stop wasting your time chasing someone that you can't bring in and focus on a manager that's attainable. Focus on a manager that can come in. So this is where, for me, the ball earned their money for us as fans, by not dilly-dallying and dragging their feet over someone that they simply cannot bring in and get over the line. Maybe Fletcher knows how to set up a midfield. I'm going to make a bold statement here. I think in the short term, 2, 3, 4 games in charge, the coaching staff at the club and Fletcher will turn out much better performances and results than we've been seeing. Let us not ignore some of the big, vast reports of 3 or 4 weeks ago that spoke about the confusion and clashes between the coaching staff and Ole. How they would spend all week working on a particular setup and process. And come Saturday, Ole would set the team up different and give them different instructions. They didn't train for the press to press Liverpool, but Ole went and told them to do it. Look what that did. So I feel that as though if the team trains in a particular style all week and they're set up to go and do that at the weekend, if we're picking players on meritocracy, we're giving people opportunities, if there's a feel-good factor and things liven up at the club and people are happier, I believe there'll be some positive results with the kind of squad that we've got. Use that time to get the right permanent or interim manager or the right plan in place. Be transparent with what that looks like to a certain degree. They're not going to tell us everything. Get that done and let's start moving things forward. That's what I want to see now, to make the best of a bad situation, and if Fletcher wins a few games along the way, I'm not going to call for him to be the permanent manager. Let's not be romantic or sentimental about this. Let's just be new, just nice and calm and collected. That would be my take on this. Going to take some of your calls very, very soon. I do want to hear from you on the terrace today. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're feeling, and all that jazz. Mohammed here says, Ole will go down as the best manager ever. Come on, Bob. You're better at bantering than that. I've met you face-to-face now twice. You're better than that. Zidane wants the French job. Yeah, I've read the reports that he wants the France job. So if we can't get him, you move on straight away. No messing. To the next guy. Done. Dusted. That's what you've got to do. That is what you've got to do. That's it at all. A few people are saying... Ollie's, it's not been officially announced yet. Man United won't officially announce it just yet. I've got a feeling they're going to wait until Monday to officially announce that. That is what this club does when it comes to that stock market. But he has been sacked. Bet your bottom dollar Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked. It's done. He's been told he's left. The formal announcement it's a formality. He's gone. He's absolutely 100% gone. He will not be the manager for the Villarreal game. It's done. It's finished. Absolutely finished. Absolutely finished. Neil Driscoll here. Sorry, Neil Driscoll says the Glazers don't trust them to pick the right man for the job. And that is a fear that I know a lot of Man United fans have. Legitimately, I know Man United fans have that fear. Why? Because this is the 5th time that this select committee are picking the manager. Something's got to give. They've got to get this one right. They simply have to. Our board and owners are scared to hire anyone with elite footballing people like Ralph, as they will no longer operate United just as a cash cow for the Glazers. I can't see it changing anytime soon. And that is why, irrespective of who comes in, the focus has to be the Glazers. The focus has to be, what are they going to do next? That simply has to be the focus on these situations each and every single time, as far as I'm concerned. They just simply have to be. If they're not, and we're looking at other areas and other things, that there is going to be a problem. That there will be a problem. You just can't get away from that. You just can't get away from it. There will be an issue. There will be like problems that sort of sorry, I just saw the name of the weirdest group I've ever seen in my life on Twitter. It's actually made me laugh. It's actually made me laugh. Right, we're going to some of your calls in a few moments. Very important that you all come on and get to have your say. Make sure that like button has been smashed this morning for us, please. That'd be amazing if you could do that. Closing in on 200 likes, which is absolutely brilliant as ever. Let's get that done, my wonderful people. Today, Fletcher and Carrick as interim until Poch gets sacked is what Mr. Reddy believes. Zidane would need $1 billion plus. Look, give him $1 billion. We haven't got $1 billion, but you know what I mean by that. Will Ole get another job, and if so, at what level? Well, some of the reports last night said that Ole is going to take time out. I don't see Ole managing at this level, personally. I kind of hope he does. I hope someone gives him an opportunity, but I can't see it myself. I really can't. I really can't see him getting that opportunity. Arteta survived it all, is what Chris said. Yeah, he did. He did. And let's see what happens with Tottenham. Let's see what happens with Chelsea. Let's see what happens. The only time that becomes a celebration, Chris, I saw a lot of Arsenal fans tweeting that last night, and I thought, I get it. But Chelsea have gone on to win a Champions League in the top of the Prem after Lampard's gone. If Man United have any kind of similar bounce and improvement over the next 12 months, you're going to wish you didn't win the debate. It could end up being one of those things where, oh, we won. Yeah, but what did you win? Is the secret phrase comeback kings? The secret phrase isn't comeback kings. But before we go into the calls, let's have a little look at the Football Terrace competition. So the Football Terrace competition is a secret phrase in the golden envelope just there behind me if you're new to the terrace. If you super chat in, you don't need to super chat in with the guests. You could just be super chatting in to ask me a question, make a statement, have a guess. If you guess the secret phrase, you'll win £100 in cash, a PlayStation 5, a limited edition Boohoo Man hoodie, and a pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's new football boots. The clues that we've given out so far is the secret phrase has a connection to Arsenal. Rivals don't like it. You love it if it happens to you. And Spurs and Liverpool have very famous examples of this. They are the clues. Get your super chats in now. Don't wait, because if you're thinking, oh, I might wait to another clue comes in, you could miss out. If we hit 750 likes on this stream, I will give you another clue. So it's down to you, the viewers, to get yourselves liking these videos and sharing these videos and more people liking them, but get them super chats in. We have a guess here that says, is the phrase comeback kings? No. The phrase isn't comeback kings, but thank you very much for your guess there this morning. Get that done. Get that done right about now. Just give me the PS5. Stop this. Oh, you got to guess it, my man, Chris. You got to guess it. We're not just going to give it away. We're not just going to give it away. Big Sam is available. Sign him up. Can you imagine Big Sam at Man United? Can you imagine? If you are watching on Twitter, by the way, I know a number of you are watching over there. Please all hit that retweet button right now. There's quite a lot of you watching on Twitter, which is really nice. Hit it now. I want to see over 20 retweets on this right about now, my people. Give that a go. You can click on the YouTube link if you're watching on Twitter as well, and then come across, get the link and phone in and have your say. That'd be marvelous if you could. Terry, how much can United spend in January? How much do we need to spend? I think that's a really big question here. A DM. We saw yesterday Donny in that double pivot role. Donny's going to feel like a new signing, as an example. Players are going to get a new lease. I wonder how quickly Pogba's injury is going to be over as well. I wonder how much faster. Suddenly there's maybe a positive feel around the club. If you feel quite a positive person, you can get over injuries and illnesses quite a bit quicker, I think. He might be back sooner rather than later. I think there'll be an instant feel-good factor. We know we need a new CDM. So if we can bring in somebody of ample quality in January, great, go for it. I think what could trigger Man United to spend money in January is the fact that so many other clubs are going to look to spend money in January. I think that really, really could be key. It could be key. Massively, it could be key. Let's have a look at some more of these comments here. United don't need signings, just a half-decent manager is what Cool Smart says. Yeah, I think a lot of people will agree with you on that. I think a capable manager changes everybody's perception of this squad. This squad is nowhere near as bad as some people have been making out. Thank you, Jake, by the way, for becoming an official academy member of the Football Terrace today. That means a great deal to us. Right, let's go to your calls this morning. First up on the show, young Tommy is here with us now to have his say. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sacked. Darren Fletcher in as the interim. Darren Fletcher in as the interim manager. Zidane talks continue. What's going to happen at the club? Let's do this. Young, hello, Tommy boy. What's on your mind, mate?
Just a bit deflated of the thrashing we got yesterday. I expected us to lose to Liverpool. They're a good side. I expected to get a point, but it's men against boys, so it is what it is. But yeah, as you see, I told you guys, Ole Gunnar freestyle. You Man United fans can celebrate. He's gone. The guy's out the door. You guys can celebrate. And obviously, you I can tell you're happy. Johnny as well. People have been being horrible to him, saying, "Oh, he's not a fan." People need to apologize to Johnny because he was right from the beginning that this manager was out of his depth, and people have been horrible to him. So I'm happy for Johnny. You lot can celebrate. Go out for dinner. Open up the champagne. You Man United fans can celebrate. Darren Fletcher. It's a weird one. I thought it's a weird one. Interim. Let's see how it goes with Fletcher. Let's see how it goes. Win a couple of games, then obviously I think he'll get Zidane. I get that his wife doesn't want to move to England, but this is an opportunity for Zidane to move to London, and I think he will love London as well. Because I've lived in London for 7 years.
As a rival, I want to ask you a question.
Sure. Anything.
Are you concerned about, especially as you play Man United in 2 weeks' time? Are you concerned about a bounce? Are you concerned about Manchester United rising, maybe not back to the top because City, Liverpool, and Chelsea are hard to catch, but are you worried about Man United becoming a different animal when you play us in 2 weeks' time?
I am, because we can because we lost to Liverpool yesterday. I expected us to lose to them anyway. We could lose to you. Obviously, we can lose to you. We can lose to you, because obviously, I said to people, don't get carried away, and this bites us in the arse. They don't get carried away about the unbeaten run. I said, don't get carried away, and this what happened yesterday. This is what happened. I think you will beat us. Newcastle at home as well next week, and they need a win. We can lose that game as well because they need.
My question was, Tommy, are you concerned? That's what I want to know.
I am concerned. I am concerned because we can lose to you. I am a bit concerned. We can lose to you. I'm a bit concerned. I'm a bit worried about playing you lot because now you sacked Ole. We can lose to you. We can. I'm a bit concerned. I am concerned because we can get beat by you. I'm on the 2nd of December, so yeah, I am concerned.
There we go. Listen, Tommy, top man. Good to hear from you this morning, buddy. Speak to you again soon. Thank you very much.
You as well, man.
Indeed. Thank you. Next on the show, we're going to have Mohammed. Mohammed's a Liverpool fan. He's back with us this morning. As a rival, Mohammed, are you worried at all?
Maybe for the first couple of months, but it will come down. It'll come down crashing down in the next 2 months when the manager bounce ends. We saw that with Ole when he was interim. As soon as he got the new contract, it started to turn very sour towards the end of that season, if I'm not mistaken. And then you gave him the contract towards the end of the season as well that season. So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned in the long term, but yeah, definitely in the short term. But anyway, I'm buzzing at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, did you feel at all like? Do you feel at all like? Do you feel like Man United could appoint the right? Forget the short-term interim. I'm not too concerned about that. Do you think Man United's board will get it right this time with the appointment?
I think looks if they get Zidane in, then I think they'll definitely get the best out of those players. But if they get someone else in like Rodgers, it'll be a better manager than Ole, of course. But it's not going to be. It's not going to be that much of a threat, to be honest. You need like a world-class manager in his prime. Man United haven't got a world-class manager in his prime since Fergie left in 2013.
I hear you on that. Listen, Mohammed, great call this morning and great seeing you on the Friday night show last week.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
No worries.
Appreciate it. Top man. Thank you, Mohammed, one of our members there. Liam says, is the answer victory through harmony? No, it isn't. Avi Troops says, as reported before, Spurs can spend up to 400 million under Conte without breaking the FFP rules. Is Conte looking for a title next season, or is that too soon? Listen, if Spurs spend 400 million pounds over January and the summer on players, not net, but just spend that much on players, I'll wear a Liverpool shirt on 3 or 4 streams. I'm not convinced the board will do that. If they do, you spend that much over 2 windows, and you have a manager like Antonio Conte, the only expectation is challenging for a Premier League and winning silverware. That becomes the instant expectation. I've read those reports. We'll see how much. But even if they spend half that, Villa say they're going to spend. As an example, Newcastle are going to spend. There will be a knock-on effect. There has to be. There simply has to be a knock-on effect. Remember, people, we're speaking this morning about the sacking of Ole. Darren Fletcher is the interim, highly likely to take charge of the situation against Villarreal. Zidane is currently the bookies' favourite to be the new permanent manager. Ten Hag in the mix. Some people saying Poch, of course. Rodgers is there as well. We want your views and your opinions. The link to call in is in the live comments section now. But we are going to go into the quickfire round this morning. We're going to go into the quickfire round this morning. Get your member chats and super chats in to ask me any questions you want, and we're going to go through and answer those for you right about now. We have a super chat here that says, Sir Alex Ferguson sabotaged United to protect his legacy, stayed beyond his retirement until Pep was unavailable after his sabbatical, then recommended Moyes, now supported Ole until Conte wasn't available. It's a good twist. That's a good plot that you've created. That's a good story. You should speak to Idris Elba and see if he can work that into his new season of Luther that he's making. But and thank you for the super chat. But no, Fergie has no power at Manchester United. There was this big media rumor that he turned up to protect Ole after the Liverpool defeat at the training ground, and then that was debunked 2 days later. It was something he was booked in to do 2 months ago. It was a commercial shoot that he was part of. That's why he was there. He might give an opinion on things, but he has no voting rights and no power on the Manchester United ball at all, and hasn't done since he retired. He's there for a very much a ceremonious position, ambassadorial, if anything else, but no voting rights, no powers, no controls at Manchester United anymore. And thank you very much for that comment, though, my friend. It means a great deal to us. Get your questions in. Daniel says, is it official that he's been sacked? It's not been announced by Manchester United, but he hasn't been sacked either. Well, I'm going to say he's been sacked, but United will release a statement. Mutual consent was given. I was told by one journalist yesterday that Ole did offer his resignation. So the report is that it's mutual consent. He said that he's admitted that he's taken it as far as he can go and is willing to step down. They've done mutual consent. He will get a severance package, and he will move on. I think what's really interesting, though, about this, what I think is really interesting about this is that it's the second manager we've sacked now on the bounce, and only a number of months after giving them a new deal. That's the concern for me. Twice we've backed managers with new deals, and they've been gone. And I'm thinking to myself, why? How have we sacked managers 2 times on the bounce after giving them new deals? Why have things with these managers collapsed so quickly after Ole and Jose Mourinho respectively getting new deals? And the only thing that I can think of that makes logical sense is that there were large parts of both dressing rooms unhappy. And when they saw the new deals arrive, it created a bit of a butterfly effect. The new deal is signed and disgruntled players become more frustrated, and this seeps across the dressing room. You then throw into the mix more money being spent. The longer you're in the job at Man United, the more you're expected to win. You add all those pressures together, and the house of cards has fallen down. This, again, is something I look at the Glazers at, and I look at the Glazers for, and the ball to resolve. Read the room. Where is the due diligence at Manchester United? There is an element in this game. You have to look and think and feel about how staff feel. How in every walk of life. I might own a business and really like the person I put in charge to manage. But if all the staff don't like that individual, I would be an idiot to ignore their feedback and go, I don't care what you think. I like him or I like her. I'm gonna give them a pay rise and a brand new bonus. They turn up in their new sports car after getting their bonus, and it triggers the staff, makes the staff underperform because they're angry that they don't feel like they're being appreciated or being developed or being looked after or treated right. But yet the person that they're agreed with is getting the bonuses and is getting made out to be looking like a superstar. I think there's something in the fact that Manchester United have renewed 2 coaches, managers, contracts on the bounce, and within weeks we've started to see things capitulate and fall apart. The sacking of Ole has been a lot quicker than Jose's sacking after getting his new deal. It was nearly 12 months, but the pattern has still persisted. And this is where the Glazers have to do more due diligence. We like him, and half the squad do, but what about the rest that are disgruntled? Could that grow? Could that seep in? Could that become a problem? It's another big Glazer issue for me that hasn't really been spoken about yet. 2 managers running, new deals, and then sacked. What do you think? What do you think about that? Let's do some more of these comments here. Can United only make progress if they get a football-savvy director, manager and coaches on board? Phrase unbeaten run. The phrase isn't unbeaten run, and you're absolutely spot on with your question there. Brilliant quick-fire question. The manager's important, the playing staff are important, but footballing decisions at broad level are one of the biggest differences between the teams winning the major honours and the teams not. Because those decisions impact what goes on the pitch. I.e., if you've got footballing minds on that board and they read the situation with Ole, as I've just mentioned previous to this, and they say, look, a lot of the squad are unhappy. There's £200 million of new talent that isn't being played and utilised. We're failing in every semi-final or final that we get to. We're not winning the silverware. There are clear tactical issues. The fans can see it. Rival fans are singing Ole at the wheel every time we win a game. There's something wrong. A savvy director wouldn't have renewed Ole's deal. And again, I wasn't an Ole outer in the conventional sense, but was not happy that he was given a new deal. Felt it was the wrong move. They've half-wasted this season. We'll see what the response to it is. But a lack of savvy football minds on our board have led to Manchester United essentially throwing away this season in terms of Premier League stakes anyway. There was nothing wrong with giving these managers new deals. How can new players sign if they aren't sure of the current manager situation? The current manager situation should play only a small part in clubs running in the modern day game. There should be a club plan, a club process, a club ethos, a club philosophy, a club DNA, a club way of doing things, not a manager's way. The manager now in modern day football has to be what I call a plug and play, white labeled solution. They come in and they bring your vision to life. You as a club don't bring their vision. Of course, you take their training techniques and their knowledge and their coaching ability and their football brain to enhance what you have. And you should be taking things, oh, wow, what Pep Guardiola's done here has worked really well. Let's take that as a learn and instill it within our processes and sort of structure as a football club. So use that manager from a consultative basis, but never allow that manager to dictate how you run things unless it improves you, but you maintain that for the next person. If every 2 years you're rebuilding things from scratch, you're never going to create continuity ever in any type of walk of life. Football team, education, family life, business, whatever it may be, you need that continuity, that base. So you can still sign players. At the end of the day, if Ole wasn't the guy after Villarreal, he should have then been removed. What we're doing now for a new manager, I believe should have happened a long time ago. So I do get your point there, Danny King. It's a really, really good question though, my friend. Thank you. Do you think we'll have a new manager for Chelsea? I'm not sure. I really am not sure. I'm on the fence on that one, if I'm being honest with you. I don't think we'll have our new permanent manager by Chelsea. I'd be shocked if, or at least not our number one target, because I believe that is Zinedine Zidane. Let's see what happens with Brendan Rodgers in the next few days. I still think there's a possibility he comes in, but we will see. A lot of people don't want him. As I said, I'm on the fence with saying who I think is right and who I think is wrong, because we've got it wrong so many times already. We're going to go to some more of your calls, though, now. Sherim, who is a Liverpool fan, is going to be on the show next with us to have his say. Smash that like and share button, people. That was the quick fire round. Let's do this. Morning, mate. Welcome back to the terrace. What do you want to say, buddy?
Yeah. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, mate. Yeah. Go for it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I think this was about 5 weeks late, but better late than never, than they say. Isn't that right?
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see who you guys get in for me, because it doesn't really matter who the manager is. It just matters on what the club does in the long run. We've seen it in the past. Like, you've had Mourinho, Van Gaal, how you guys treated them towards the end of their reign, and how the idea was where they came in, they got rid of 5-6 players over a 2-3 year span, and then replaced it with 2 years of their players, and then eventually the club gets bored, your fans have had enough and they want them out, and you rinse and repeat, if that's in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, Usman Talks United on Twitter replied to one of my tweets earlier and says, mate, I'm very reserved at the moment. Watch Fletcher get some decent results and the fan base and board will make it Ole 2.0. This is where fans need to remain sensible. Fans need to relax a little bit and don't get carried away. Darren Fletcher, Pep Guardiola's and Zidane's, they are rare. And they stand
special.
out. They are special where their first managerial jobs, they do something sensational. But let's also not get twisted. Their first managerial jobs were at clubs that were at the times in good spaces with impeccable squads, with two players that are probably going to go down as number 1 and number 2 in the history of football, with midfielders like Xavi and Iniesta, midfielders like Modric and Toni Kroos, as an example. They had impeccable teams, systems, and structures around them. They had clubs at the times that were being run really well, and they're special in themselves as managers.
Yeah,
very few managers in the history of football get their first jobs at one of the biggest clubs in the world and keep you dining at the elite table for so long. Darren Fletcher is highly unlikely to have the ability to do that straight away. Even our very own Fergie did years of work to be ready for a job like Man United. Most managers do have to build themselves up to these jobs. So I don't want United fans or the Glazers to get romantic and sentimental and start, if he wins the next 4 games, we have an amazing result, some amazing big results. Don't get carried away. Still
Totally
focus
agreed.
on the person. And this is what I was saying earlier about the club having a plan and an ethos. So I believe what the Glazers do is they start building something that has legs. But then they change direction when something new and shiny comes up. They remind me of my kids. Sometimes I can set it up in the kitchen, get the paints out, cover the table first. You get the paints out, you get the paper out, the brushes, you get everything set up ready. You get them with their kind of little apron things on so they don't get paint everywhere. Tie Freya's hair back. I sit them down. It takes me like 20 minutes. They paint for like 5 minutes and then they get down and go in their room and start playing with their toys again. And I'm like, I just set that up for you. Why are you not using it? That's the Glazers.
You see, for me...
That's what they do all the time. Go on, mate. Go on.
So for me, what I feel like the Glazers are, they want top 4 and they're not willing to push, because it will cost a bit more just to realistically compete for the top honours, whether it's Champions League and Premier League. What they've done is they've done enough just to get top 4. But what's happened as well under Ole is because he's not good of a manager, so they had to prop him up a bit more in terms of buying top quality players like Sancho and Varane, for example. So now you get a top quality manager. I think he will compete and potentially win a trophy or 2. But then you'll see that they won't invest as much as they would have done if they fell out of the top 4, because they'd see that.
I hear you on that, but I don't necessarily think we need to. A world-class manager, I think, can get a lot out of this very good squad that we've got. But we'll see. But Sarim, listen, mate, great call. Thanks for your support as ever, mate. And we'll speak to you again soon. Top, man. Thank you. We have a super chat here. Owen's coming on the show next. Avi here says, what United have to do is get you happy, and when the next time you're going to Old Trafford, see United again. I've already said I'm convinced that the club's being run in a way in which to generate the best results on the field of play. I won't put any money into Manchester United still, irrespective of, I can be happy with individual moments from the club, but it's going to take a long time for them to convince me personally that they're running this club in the right way to try and win trophies. And then I'll go back. Frank here says we have the second most expensive squad in the world. Exactly. And there's real talent in it. There is real talent in it. Even some of our worst performing players, the Maguires, the Freds, etc., when they play for their clubs, they're brilliant. A brilliant coach and management team now can get a tune out of this squad. There's no doubt about it. When we see how well Palace are playing, how well Brighton play, how well Wolves play, even yesterday how well Watford played, their squads can't touch ours. So there's a very good squad here. Get Klinsmann in now, pay up, and then pay up for Ten Hag. Klinsmann's an interesting one, Klinsmann's an interesting one. Didn't think about him at all. Interesting take there. Right, Owen's on the show with me now. Owen, welcome to the Terrace. Who do you support, mate?
Hi, Sarah. How's it going? I'm a Man United fan through and through.
Lovely. Good to hear from you, mate. Yeah, I'd love to get your take on Ollie essentially not being here anymore. I know it's not been officially announced, but we all know it's done. And the sort of idea of Fletcher as an interim, and who do you want to come in and replace Ollie long term, mate? Be good to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it? I've been Ollie out from the start, to be honest. But you know, we can all look back in retrospect now, but it's all if buts and maybes. But I think the main thing is that he is gone. So you know, we can beat him while he's down and whatnot. But I think we all need to look forward and find solutions now. And on that note, I think in respect of the interim situation, there's a lot of talk about Zidane coming in as full time. And I think the club are trying to sell him the full-time position. And obviously he's not keen on that because of the France situation in a year's time. What no one's really talking about is Zidane coming in as an interim. I think that would work for all parties, if I'm being honest. He comes in now, demands instant respect, gets a tune out of this squad. We've still got Pogba, Cavani, Ronaldo. We've got world-class players to win something this season. So if Zidane comes in as an interim, you know, he can do something this season. Maybe give him a 6-month contract or a year's contract. Then there's not a massive emphasis on him to learn English, because he's probably looking at it now thinking, you know, I can't commit to England for 3-4 years because I can't speak English. But if he comes in for 6 months or a year, that won't be his main target. He'll just be coming in, get a tune out of these players, and he can leave on a high. Go do the French job and whatnot.
Yeah.
And as well, if he sits out now until the French job, essentially he's been out of work for 3 years. I think there's a massive advantage for him.
Yeah. I think what you're saying makes
it.
I hear you, and I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense as well in the idea of, look, you know, the France role is not going to be available for at least a year. Come with us until the end of this. Come with us until the end of the season. We'll give you a nice bit of money to do that, and then let's reassess again in the summer. Maybe Zidane falls in love with managing the club and does a great job. Maybe, you know,
that's exactly it.
Yeah, and maybe the people that think he isn't good enough, and it was a little bit not a fluke what he did at Madrid, but it was a unique situation. Maybe we all go, actually, he done well for us, but he isn't the right guy for us. Then you're in the summer. It's, well, let's talk to Ten Hag. Maybe Poch. I'm just throwing names out there that could be available that are on the list. Again, that could suit all parties. Again, there's no doubt. I think what I would like to have done, irrespective of who the new manager is, I like what Chelsea's approach and Tottenham's approach has been in recent weeks, and that's been to in recent times is the first deal is like an 18-month contract. So the very minimum we've got the person to is the summer of 2023. However, they do a bad job. Say we get a permanent guy now, and they do a bad job between now and the end of the season. You can sack them fairly easily because there's only 1 year of compensation to play. Maybe you put a break clause in at the end of the season and say, look, you know, I want to see a bit more ruthlessness from our owners to say, we want to be able to get out of this situation if you're not as good as you're telling us you are. You know, if we give a new manager 5 years straight away, that's another thing about the Ollie thing and the new deal. It's another big lump sum of money now we have to pay out to get rid of him because we stupidly renewed his contract. But yeah, listen, I'm all up for Zidane. Zidane's my number one target. I'm really interested to see how he does and gets on. Owen, really good call, mate. Thank you for coming on and having your say.
No worries, Terry. Take care.
Top man. Thank you very much indeed. We're going to get Usman Talks United on next. Pav's waiting backstage. The Euro expert is coming on in a few moments to give us his thoughts and feelings on these managers as well. Ensure that like button is smashed. We're not going to be giving you a new clue today for the secret phrase. We're only on 400 likes. We need to hit 1,000. There's 2,000 of you watching. It should be very easy to hit that 1,000 like mark. Dinesh here says United need to clear all the backroom staff. Have a manager with his new backroom staff, as Liverpool did with Klopp, is what Dinesh has got to say now. Usman Talks United is on next. Then we're going to get the Euro expert on. Then Pav's coming on to have his say as well. A lot of people asking, is the news official? It's not been announced by Man United. I have just been sent a link to say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has arrived at Carrington this morning. All intents and purposes, that is to say goodbye, collect personal effects and move on. He will not be, according to very credible sources, Fabrizio Romano, Laurie Whitwell, Samuel Luckhurst, Dean Jones, and a number of others, he will not be in charge for the Villarreal game. An interesting thing I've just shared as well, Constantine Eckers, one of the most credible football journalist on the planet, okay, works with the BBC, along with some other outlets as well, has stated that Man United are trying everything to get Zidane. Zidane is the number one target. Up next on the show, Usman Talks United. Morning, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I literally woke up like 30 minutes ago and I was like, I seen your show and I was like, listen, I need to come. And I was about to say, look, first things first, I know a lot of fans have been saying their well wishes to Ali. And look, for me personally, he's still a legend. He always will be a legend. I loved him as a player. But at the end of the day, the way the board have used him as a scapegoat is absolutely embarrassing. I mean, we knew Ali should have got sacked a long time ago. But the fact that he survived a 5-0 loss to Liverpool, you can say what you want about Ali. The board, for me, have been nothing short of pathetic. And once again, have shown how pathetic they are by sacking him after Watford. You've had 14 days to sack a manager, and you've allowed him to obviously see out that 14 days. And on top of that, you don't have a contingency plan in place. You don't have a plan to suggest that, as soon as if we are to sack Ali after Watford, this is his last game, they should have sacked him and had a manager lined up then and there. I mean, how can people like the Glazers, who have multi-billion companies, not understand the bare basics of how to run a business? How have they not got someone lined up already? I just don't understand. Like, obviously, we know that Fletcher is going to become the interim alongside Carrick. I mean, with all due respect to them two guys, firstly, I don't understand why Carrick is still there. He was there under Jose. That failed miserably. He was there under Oli. For me, that hasn't been successful. And now he still somehow survived. And I tweeted you just before I come on to this, like, what's to say them two don't go on a good run and then the fans start lapping you up and saying, oh, Fletcher's at the wheel, Fletcher and Carrick, give it to them, the two midfield maestros. I mean, I've seen someone else say it, and they're basically the McFred of management, like them two together. Like, they've got no credentials whatsoever. And I know it's an interim job.
Yeah. I think this is where fans we need to learn, and you know, people like yourself with platforms need to speak. And it's, look, if Fletcher does a really good job and shows himself to be proficient, I'd maybe look at it and go, let's keep this guy involved in the club. He clearly has what I've read about Darren Fletcher is that he's quite tactically astute, in the sense of when people in the football world go, when you speak to him, he understands it. I've heard good things about the way he interacts with other clubs when it comes to the transfers and everything else. But he is at the fledgling stage of his career. And you can't, in the modern day game, with the increasing pressures on management, the 24-hour news, the social media element, the squad we've got, Manchester United need a top-class to world-class manager, bare minimum. A top-class on his way to being world-class, or someone who's considered world-class now. Fletcher and Carrick and all these guys, who knows where they'll be in 5-10 years' time? Who knows? You even look right now, you look at someone like Edwin van der Sar. Edwin van der Sar is highly regarded because of a body of work that he's created within the game. Darren Fletcher's got to create that body of work before he's ready for a Man United job. In the short term, I am legitimately happy for it, in the sense of, if he's taking care of Villarreal while we sort the managerial problem out, that's not even an interim. That word shouldn't even be used. I call that, you're similar age to me, that's a caretaker manager. And whenever the word caretaker manager was used, no one panicked, because caretaker managers, like, they 99.9% of the time never got the job on a permanent basis. The word interim is making everybody nervous because Oli was an interim. So I think Fletcher is purely caretaker, 2 or 3 games. We then will appoint someone. Who's your number one target, though, bruv? Who's the guy you want above and beyond anyone else?
I mean, obviously, we're talking realistic, of course. Look, for me personally, I just think I love Zidane. Firstly, I just want to throw that out there. I love Zidane. I think he'd be absolutely phenomenal with the crop of players we've got. I know he doesn't get the respect he deserves, which is absolutely baffling given he did the 3-peat. So Zidane would definitely be in the conversation for me. However, I'm just somewhat drawn to Ten Hag. I just feel like he might be the future of coaching in terms of what he's shown me. And of course, Ten Hag is not realistic for the current situation. So I'm kind of going down the interim route, like Laurent Blanc to the end of the season. I know a few people have mentioned it to me, and I think it would make sense to get someone like Blanc to get it to come in, steady the ship somewhat, in terms of getting us the top four. I know that's not a success before people get onto me, but get us top four and they go for Ten Hag in summer, because I've followed a few Ajax journalists, and a couple of them that are very credible have said that Ten Hag will be leaving at the end of the season. They're not confident that he's going to stay at Ajax. And they also mentioned Manchester United. So these guys are obviously people that report for Ajax, so to speak. And they've all said the same thing. Like they're pretty confident Ten Hag will be leaving, and they're confident he'll be going to Manchester United if Man United go and obviously acquire for his services. So although Zidane would be phenomenal, it does worry me because he wants a France job. He's made it be known that he wants a France job. He might be a short term, and then do we miss out on a potential long term manager in a Ten Hag? So for me, I'd go interim Laurent Blanc to the end of the season, and I'd go all out for Ten Hag. But if Zidane came in, I would not be disappointed whatsoever.
Yeah, no, listen, I hear you on that completely. Great call, Uz. Really good to hear from you this morning, my friend. Top man. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hear that, like Ten Hag again. You're not going to see me getting angry. Ten Hag or Zidane. I feel like Zidane is there at that world-class level, personally. I think Ten Hag is on his way to being that great manager. There are question marks over everybody. But like, who hasn't got a question mark over them who's attainable for Man United? We're going to get an expert now on European managers to come on and have his say. First of all, Jason says, heard that Zidane wasn't keen on the United job. Why force someone to take a role if the enthusiasm is not innate and there is no passion about the club? It's a good point there from Jason. Fletcher is worse. Is the phrase bounce back ability? The phrase in the envelope isn't bounce back ability, but good guess, my friend, this morning on that. Euro expert is here with us now. Morning, mate. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, great. I'd love to get your take. I'd love to get your take on some of the names being kind of bandied about this morning. The first one was pushed out by The Athletic this morning as being a potential replacement, the current Sevilla manager. I don't know too much about him. What's your take on that? Would he be good enough to improve Man United?
Yeah, Julen Lopetegui. There's question marks just because of what happened at Madrid, and quite clearly there. So Lopetegui, he took charge of Madrid after he was in charge of the Spanish national team. This is 2018 after Zidane left, and he started off quite poorly because he basically left the Spanish national team with minimal notice. I think it might have been just before the World Cup. So it got off to a bad start. And from memory with Lopetegui, at Sevilla, he's done lots of good things, but at Madrid, kind of struggled to sort of implement his identity. I think he was suffering for Zidane hangover, and maybe there's question marks there of can he handle the sort of egos of Madrid, of Man United, really. But at Sevilla, the flip side of it, what he's been good at really is just creating sort of a solid system. And I think this is going to be a word that me and you might repeat quite a lot, because that's what United lack so badly, just lack a system. And I think with Lopetegui, he's only managed in Spain as well, so sort of a gamble there. If we're talking on a list of where I put managerial candidates, maybe sort of top 10, but I do think there's other people above him. And more importantly, I'm not sure he'll leave. Sevilla have got probably the best chance they've had in ages to actually go for a title this season with Atletico Madrid and Madrid struggling. So I'm not 100% convinced he'd leave.
Do you feel with I want to say Denver, Lopetegui is how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
okay.
spot on.
So I think with him, my gut feel is he's a name that's being thrown about because Sevilla are having a really good year. But I worry about his ability to, again, there's a difference between managing a Sevilla, managing a West Ham, managing a Tottenham, and then managing a Manchester United. One of the other names, we'll get onto Zidane in a minute. Ten Hag's an interesting one. He seems to be everybody's choice from a technical and tactical perspective. Do you think he could handle the pressures, though, of Man United? And do we have the squad for him to implement that kind of Ajax/Barca-esque style of play?
So, yeah, this is the one that's a good talking point, because I'm also a big fan of Ten Hag. I think everyone is who's watched him at Ajax, right? And not just the 18-19, but what he's done since. I think last season you guys played Roma in Europa League semi-final. It should have been Ajax. The only reason they didn't get there is because they had a backup goalkeeper who just let them down. But to answer your question, I have more question marks over Ten Hag than Zidane. I'm with you. I think Ten Hag's going to be a world-class coach, but management in football, it's not that Ten Hag is running Ajax. He's got a team there. And the thing I have questions of is how much of his assistants will come over to Man United and translate what they're doing. It can't just be him, because no one can expect Ten Hag to come into United and provide the results straight away, especially if no backroom staff, or they're not the same backroom staff. If they come over, maybe it's a bit easier. And again, maybe I'm coming from a perspective of watching Pochettino at PSG. Maybe that's the name we end up talking about. I'm worried about that sort of transition. See, Ajax is quite a humble club, and I think Ten Hag's biggest achievement is the talent he's improved. Players like Anthony, De Jong, De Ligt at Ajax, right? But there's a massive lack of ego at Ajax. That's completely different to United. We're talking the pressure, like you were mentioning. I'm not 100% convinced Ten Hag can manage that. Not because of him, but because I've seen Pochettino go to PSG and not being able to implement the style with like this new level of players and a new level of club. So with Ten Hag, I think maybe with time he can work, but he'd probably be the second candidate. And I think my closing thing on him would be probably could be and should be in United manager one day. But when you've got the dying years of Ronaldo's peak and Varane in his prime, maybe you want someone who's better equipped to get the most out of them.
I absolutely agree. We've got some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
Manchester United have officially announced the sacking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He is now sacked as the Manchester United manager, officially announced by Manchester United. As we spoke about this morning, this was on the cards to happen. We knew this was coming down the line, as it were. He is now gone. It is now over. It is now finished as Manchester United manager, officially announced there by the football club. And their Twitter page, now, literally in the last couple of minutes as we speak, he is gone, he is done, he is out of here. As it stands right now, he's gone. He's absolutely finished. As manager, like viewers, we told you this morning it was done. Sometimes with news, you don't need to wait for the official announcement because too many goddamn people are talking about it. Too many people are speaking about this now as it stands. You're an expert. I mean, we knew it was coming, but it's done. It's finished. It's over now.
Thank God for United. As a neutral, I'm not one of the people chanting Ole in every other fan, but yeah, it was a long time coming. It needed to go just because I think a lot has been said of Ole, and this is my one. I'm not sure how much it will resonate with you, but I think Ole, the job he's done so far has been good, but the United squad, the makeup right now, is at a high level where you need a proper manager to come in, one who's experienced, who knows exactly what he's going to do with this side and get the most out of it. With the jigsaw pieces of Ronaldo, Sancho and everyone, I think it was too much for Ole, and that's why he struggled. And I'm very happy for United that they finally got it done, mainly for the sanity of people like you, Terry, but also because it was a bit of a shame to see United struggling this badly and just without a plan, really. And yeah, I think this could be a big moment for United because they've got they had the feel-good factor back in, but as I was hearing from you and speaking with the other guys earlier, they can't afford to have another caretaker or interim manager become the permanent. This needs to be the time where they say, okay, we've got a sort of a culture back with United, some young players who are interesting, but now it's time to implement a system that gets the best out of them.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. That's absolutely true. And you know what we'll do, mate? We'll get you on later on in the week to go through some more candidates with us again. Really appreciate you coming on, mate. Good to see you again. Take care, buddy. Thank you very much indeed. As we said, that is officially announced, ladies and gentlemen. What we are going to do is just take a quick look at the report. I know a lot of you said, what have Man United officially said? We'll go and take a look at that right now. We'll have a little click on the website and go and have a little look here. I've got to share the page here for a moment. That's done. So that should now be. Let's take a look at what Man United have officially said this morning in relation to this. So club statement on Ole, as you can see, it says Man United announced that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, let me zoom in a little bit so you can all see this, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has left the role as manager. Ole will always be a legend at Manchester United. And with regret, we have reached this difficult decision. Whilst the past few weeks have been disappointing, they should not obscure all the work that has been done over the past 3 years to rebuild the foundations for long-term success. And that's the interesting thing for me. The next appointment and the level of overhaul of this squad is going to dictate how much how much of this rebuild continues. It says, Ole leads with our sincere thanks for his tireless efforts as manager and our very best wishes for the future. His place in the club's history will always be secure, not just for his story as a player, but as a great man and manager who gave us many great moments. Michael Carrick will now take charge of the team's forthcoming games whilst they look to appoint an interim manager. So it's not Darren Fletcher. It is Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick is going to take charge of Manchester United's forthcoming games, not Darren Fletcher. It's going to be Michael Carrick who's taking over. Wow. I want your thoughts to that as well. Not Darren Fletcher. It is not Darren Fletcher. It is going to be Michael Carrick. Interested indeed. KJ's coming on in a few moments. I'm going to speak to Mo first of all. Mo's a Man United fan. Carrick is the caretaker. Officially announced that Solskjaer's gone. Give us your thoughts, mate.
With Ole, he did a good job. I'm going to be respectful. When he first came in, stabilized the club, got us stabilized, but the job was too big for him. With this, Terry, I look at it as this. We have the worst CEO in world football. You'll never see a CEO this bad in Ed Woodward. How he survived 5 managers is unbelievable. We need to get rid of this guy and bring a new CEO in because I don't know how he's still at the club.
Yeah.
Ed Woodward. 5. How many managers has he had now? 4. Is it 4 managers?
This 4. This will be the 5th.
Okay, so 5th. 5 managers he's been through now, and almost over £1 billion thrown at it, and yet he this guy keeps on surviving. Michael Carrick as interim manager, I don't know about that one. I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna do. He survived like 2 managers there, hasn't he? So what's he gonna do different? What Man United need is just a complete fresh overhaul. I'm talking about board level and management level. I think they're gonna go. I'm happy Ole's gone, but Terry, they need a whole new system in place. Like we've been saying for 8 years, they need a whole new structure. If the owners are going to be there, they need to employ competent football people, because at the moment, Terry, it's manager after manager after manager. There's no system. He should have been gone against the Liverpool game. He never. It's a bit of a circus. I'm happy that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's gone, but what's the next step now? Where's the plan? What's the next plan in place? I don't think there is a plan, Terry. I think they're going to go and get. I don't know what the plan is. We'll see in the coming days what their plan is. My personal opinion is they don't have a plan, Terry.
They don't have one. And I hear you on that. I hear you, and a lot of people would agree. Thank you very much for coming on, bro, and having your say. Really appreciate that. Top man. KJ and a whole lot of Lias are going to be on with me in a few moments' time. But as stated, Michael Carrick will be in charge of Man United for the forthcoming fixtures. He is the caretaker manager, whilst a more permanent solution is looked at by Man United. Ole officially gone, officially out as the Man United manager. Lias and KJ are going to be with me. I've got a super chat here that says, sad day for rivals is what Lamin's got. Of course, it's a sad day for rivals today. You can't be seeing Ole at the wheel when we win and then pretend not to be bothered when this happens. But he's gone. KJ and Lias here next. It's official, gentlemen. He's gone. He's out. He's finished as the Man United manager. Give me your thoughts, boys.
What a beautiful morning, Terry. What an absolutely beautiful morning. I know the law came down last night. We all got that mass flurry of journalists coming out and saying he's gone, but the official news is here, and then finally a day that for weeks now, some for months, some for a year, many have waited for. It's finally here, and I think there is some uncertainty about who comes in next. What does the future of United lie? But I think one thing's for sure. This needed to be done. It needed to be done weeks ago at the very minimum. And at least now I think we can look forward and see who can bring this team back to a respectable place. Because I said it yesterday, Terry, if we had stayed with this guy any longer, we would have been struggling to finish top 10.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on with that, mate. And, we were in the studio together yesterday when all this news started coming through, and you saw my phone lighting up, like the amount of messages we were getting from people. There's lots to digest. I want to speak to you guys about replacements in a minute. I think what's really key for me is people don't panic about this Michael Carrick situation. He's the caretaker manager. He isn't
He's
the
caretaker.
Yeah, it's this is just because I mean this just shows the Glazers are mad because maybe this was the plan all along. Maybe we're overreacting. Maybe it was like, well, Carrick will come in, we'll get the interim, and then Zidane in the summer. I'm going to give an example. But what's your take on Michael Carrick coming in, and how quickly, KJ, do you think an appointment will be made, either interim or permanent?
Carrick being a manager for what Villarreal is only because they just need someone to just take training. You know what I mean? That's all it is. You can't just like sack Ole and sack Phelan and then take all the coaching staff there and sack them too at the same time. Like, because at the end of the day, you would end up with what? Under 18s coaches, academy coaches. So they need someone to at least take training. And if it comes to a day where it's like, it's Villarreal, we'll have an interim, you just continue on what you've been doing. Because there have been reports saying that Carrick and McKenna and Fletcher, them man wanted to play Donny with a DM and play different formations and do something different to Ole. And it was Ole that was the one saying, no, we're sticking with McFred, we're sticking with all-rounders, types of midfielders. So we might see a slight change in the midfield pairing. The 4-2-3-1 will probably stay. But I'm fine with Carrick staying because it's not like he's going to be there for the rest of the season. It's just legit until someone like a Laurent Blanc or a Ragnick comes in, and that could take a few days maybe knowing our board. It could take a week knowing our board. But it's not going to.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that, and I agree. It's people have got to relax on this one a little bit. We there's rivals again. That's where they get their you're going to make the same mistakes again. I don't think we will actually. I don't think they'll make that interim mistake again. If Carrick wins the next 5 games 3-0 each and we look amazing, I still don't think they'll make that mistake.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll repeat that again. I'm quite happy with him doing it. And as you just pulled on there, KJ, that was the bit that people in all the reports people have ignored. There's been fights and debates and disagreements between the coaching staff and Ole in recent months. In terms of who comes in next, Lies, like Zidane's gone, is the odds-on favourite to come in. Every credible journalist that I follow, probably barring Fabrizio, has spoke about United are pushing hard to do it. People that I was talking to in the office yesterday when you were there, Konstantin Ekner has come out and said United are going hell for leather. A few people are suggesting this could be PR from the Glazers. What's your take? Do you think there's a legitimate chance of getting him? And if you can't get Zidane, who's the second best option in your opinion?
Right. I think Zidane is the ideal candidate to replace Manchester United right now. Anyone who follows me, anyone who knows me, knows how big of a fan I am of this guy. And I think that where United are right now as a football club, as a football team, you can take a risk on a Ten Hag or a Potter or a Rodgers, but this team is ready to win now. And when you talk about winning, Zinedine Zidane, that's synonymous with his name. He's won with everything he's done. On the topic of him, though, I think I agree with you, Terry, and all these journalists that, he is probably the number one candidate on Manchester United's list. The difficulty is things like his wife doesn't want to move to Manchester. Difficulties are Zidane has an eye on the France job in a year. Difficulties are he doesn't speak English. Difficulties are he doesn't really want to go to the Premier League. He's not really in a pressure to be in a job right now. But Manchester United right now, I think, are desperate enough that they will bend to almost every single will that he has. They'll put anything in his contract that he demands. And I think you should. I think we are in desperation mode. A few weeks ago, okay, you can negotiate. But these guys wanted to wait, and now we're in this situation where beggars can't be choosers. We get what we can get. If we can't get Zidane, Terry, I told you this last night, I'm of the opinion that we cannot make the same mistake and just go for the best available manager at this exact moment. I would rather honestly get a Laurent Blanc or a Ralph Rangnick or whoever it is for the rest of the season, just so that we can enter the summer and target the manager that we think is the best Manchester United candidate. Not the one who's the best manager available right now. Not the one who's 4th on our list, but we can't get the other ones. The best one that we want. If that's Erik Ten Hag, we wait and we get him, or we attempt to get him. We don't go for Rodgers now because Ten Hag won't come until the summer. So I would honestly rather we get an interim manager now and then go for the right guy in the summer if we can't get Zidane.
I hear you on that.
I agree with that. Yeah. I think Zidane's going to be very difficult. We already seen how hard it is for our board to do anything. So to get Zidane, if we do get him, I'll be massively surprised. And I'll be like, okay, cool. What happens now, though? Like, how does the club change? Like, do we bend to what Zidane wants and always get what his transfer targets are? Does Darren Fletcher and Murtaugh stay as technical director and director of football? How things will change with Zidane
is going to be very interesting to see, because this club, again, was built around Ole to a sense, in terms of the people they brought in, coaches, the people behind the scenes. So now that's gone, what happens next? And the whole thing of bringing in someone like Ten Hag, I think if we do bring in a Ten Hag, it has to be with Van der Sar and Overmars to make it work to its complete fullest, because I don't trust our board and our structure right now to do that. As far as the Glazers, because Liaz mentioned it's his fifth, or someone mentioned it's his fifth attempt of trying to get the manager right. How that man is not sacked just for that is beyond me. That man should have been sacked after his fourth attempt on a manager. The Man United would be in a better place once Ed Woodward loses his job or leaves. And Arnold goes with them and replace them, hopefully one day, with footballing people like Van der Sar and Overmars. But until that day,
and I think that's what Euro Expert was pulling on as well, bruv. Like almost this element of, if Ten Hag comes in, it's just a shame he was talking when the official news came out. But it's almost with Ten Hag, he's coaching his players to play a way that they're trained to play since they're children. Yes, they buy some players in, but they only buy profiles who can. They only bring in the profile of player that can play that style of football. They have a whole system that's built around it. And the reason I highlighted something there on the screen a few moments ago, let's look at what Man United have said here in their statement. And this is what I want to hold the club accountable to. This is more important than sacking Ole. This is more important than who the replacement is. Because this is what this is why I've been screaming about. This is why I wasn't Ole out from the beginning. So when people say, Terry, you owe Ole out as an apology, I don't, because I'm focusing on something bigger than the manager. And their statement here reads, whilst the past few weeks have been disappointing, this should not obscure from all the work Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done over the past 3 years to rebuild the foundations for long-term success. The club, it's the first time you've seen the club kind of officially say it. It's always come from the Athletic or a very, not a transfer journalist, but a top journalist close to the club, that Ole was there on a consultative basis to fix the recruitment systems, the culture, the ethos, the profile of player we look for, the Man United way, as it were. We don't know all the intricate details of what that looks like. They're never going to share that. You never share your business plans with the world. That has been claimed here by Manchester United, that is what Ole's not key objective was, but he's done a big. And that paragraph there is what I want to hold the Glazers accountable to. The next manager that comes in shouldn't need a huge overhaul. Now, I get your point that we need some more football minds on that board making decisions, but the squad, the scouting network, the transfer methods, the transfer targets should not overly change. Maybe 10% from the new person that comes in to put their spin on things. And again, a consultative element. Oh, I really like that approach from Zidane. We'll add that to our mantra. And you should always learn from people. The amount of times I have KJ in the studio and he does something with a camera and I'm like, I'm going to do that on my camera at home now. You learn things from people, but you maintain your own plan. And that for me is why I was never Ole out from day one, because I wanted the club to tell us that Ole, we built the foundation now. Because then I wanted to see what we do after Ole. If Ole would have left halfway through the foundation being built, it wouldn't have felt right to me. It needed to be now. Now was the right time to sack him, not 2 years ago, because they've told us they've built this foundation now. Let's see if they've told us the truth, because if they go on from this and the next manager barely changes the squad, adds 3 or 4 players like any normal coach would in the summer, and we go on to those next levels, then the Ole appointment has groundings of success in terms of building something of the future. And people like Neeks and KJ and myself I'm not going to say we were right and try and gloat about it, but we said that we're told that Ole's here to help us build something beyond just success on the pitch. Let's let him build that before we sack him, because the Glazers have done a terrible job since Fergie. So let's just see. They've told us in the statement that's one of the things he's done brilliantly. Let's see the fruits of that labor. As I've said, I am focused on who the new manager is and everything else. But what I'm really key to understand now is what this person comes in to do. And if a manager needs to come in and overhaul everything, then everything they've said in that statement today is bullshit. And the Glazers again become that target. And as I said before, like, people need to stop looking at the Ole in, Ole out thing. It wasn't the main focus then. And even in the sacking of Ole, the big focus here should always remain the way the club is run. Because if the new coach, and I know I've said this 4 times already, but it's important, wants 15 members of this squad out, overhauls the training staff, sends the scouts looking in new parts of the world, wants to have a whole new regime to do the transfers. Ole's whole 3 years was pointless. Pointless. No trophies. And what he built, you then break down again. It makes no sense. And that needs to be the... Because if you keep breaking down the foundation, you will never win. Never, ever, ever. That's the key take from this for me. Sunshine's here with us now to join us on the show this morning. How you doing, bro?
Morning, gents. How are you getting on?
Good. The official news is out from Ole. I know we kind of spoke briefly last night, but like, what's your take on things, bro?
Well, obviously I can speak a little bit louder tonight, so hopefully you can hear. Well, this morning, so you can hear me a little bit better. Again, I wasn't overly happy, as I was saying yesterday, in terms of that excitement feeling. I was happy that he's gone for obvious reasons. Not saying he didn't need to go, but the biggest issue for me was whether the Glazers appoint the right manager for the long-term plan. Of course, I want Ten Hag in, but again, that official statement you've just come through with, it says a lot about my thoughts initially from when Ole first came, which was obviously Ole for the rebuild, but not Ole forever. And I think it's kind of got to that stage. You know, he's done the rebuild. Boy, I was in barbershops backing Ole for a rebuild. Having another 10, 11 people going, "Nah, Ole shit, he's this, and this." And I was saying, I agree, but we need a rebuild to be done first. So I'm glad that Ole's managed to be able to do that rebuild to some extent, not just on the pitch, but behind the doors as well, the structure behind the club. I do feel Ole was the only person at the time that was able to rebuild some form of the structure back that was pretty much dismantled by Moyes, Van Gaal, and Jose Mourinho in their tenure. I don't think any other manager could have done that, which is why I was so hell-bent on him doing his best to rebuild this club, because he knows the club. But in terms of the stuff on the pitch, I think we just need to elevate to the next level, and unfortunately it wasn't his time to be able to do that. That being said, Ten Hag, again, we have to go all out for him. I'm with KJ and you guys as well. An interim manager makes the most sense for me. Yes, there is a risk factor of, if the interim manager does well, the Glazers may offer him basically do another Ole, and that would be a big issue. But realistically, Ten Hag isn't coming to the end of the summer if we were able to get him. In that respect as well, we would also need directors of football who would allow Ten Hag to be able to go and do his job, do his work. Do we get that? Is it Van der Sar? I don't know. I doubt it. Does it need to be Van der Sar? I don't think it does. You just need footballing people in there, because one thing I do know is that whether he has the option to have those people on the board next to him, one thing he has definitely learned is the experience from them. It's not like Van der Sar does his job, Overmars does his job, and then everything's blessed. He will pick up things and learn things, and if he can help rebuild the structure from the bottom, i.e., know what types of players he would like, understand the level of recruitment that is necessary, understand what to look for, and educate Darren Fletcher, educate Michael Carrick, whatever, to the level that they need, so they get upskilled as well. Only then may we have a chance at some form of structure, because as long as these Glazers are in charge, I don't see the structure changing. And in order for Man United to be back winning stuff, the structure has to be the focus, not the manager.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll just tweet it out. And I've tweeted that passage from the statement. And I've said that this is why sacking Ole 12 to 18 months ago would have been wrong. Let's hold the ball to account. They're telling us now that foundation is built for success. So we are now they're telling us now we're in a position to plug and play managers. A top-class manager with this squad, if they truly have built this foundation, should be able to yield success from here. So I think people like yourself, Sunshine, and I know Neek spoke about this, I know KJ said it, I know I have, and this isn't about point scoring with Ole outers. It's around saying, I'm focused. It's not about I was right about not sacking Ole or not. It's my focus has and always will be the Glazers and the running of this club. It is far more important than is this manager technically good enough or not. You know, I was very privileged to speak to Big Sam the other day, and look, Big Sam doesn't have the credentials in the game that a Fergie or a Wenger or a Pep has in terms of what he's achieved. But if anyone tries to pretend that he doesn't understand football after the level he's played at and managed at, it would be stupid. And he said it to me twice in the interview. The relationship between the board and the coaching and playing staff is the most important relationship at the football club. If that's broken, if the club at board level isn't focused on having success on the pitch, there's almost nothing that the players and the management can do. It will always fall short. You'll always be a player away, a coach away, spending money away, or even just having the determination to win away from being good enough. And that's what the focus now needs to be. Whoever comes in, I know everyone's going to have reservations. Lies wants Zidane. I'd like Zidane. Some want Ten Hag. Some would be happy with Rodgers. Whoever it may be. It's almost, okay, cool. Let's just get behind that new manager, whoever he is, but let's not lose sight of this board. And if they go for the wrong manager and he comes in and he's an absolute disaster, yes, I'm going to be frustrated with that manager. But this is the fifth manager they've appointed since Fergie. that has to be the focus here. The people picking the new manager are who all my attention is on now, more so than being in or out, whoever the guy is. Do you get where I'm coming from, boys?
I do. I completely agree.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
It's an interesting one. On a positive note, though, boys, I want to get your thoughts on it. On a positive note, bounce back, bounce now. Feel good facts. We play Villarreal. We've got Chelsea. We've got Arsenal. Like this. How are you feeling about it? Are you feeling more optimistic now, gents? Like, how are you feeling ahead? Because I was dreading these games, and there was a part of me out that's like, Donny might start some games.
Bro.
Bruno might smile. Do you know what I mean? Pogba, I think Pogba's going to have a very quick recovery from his injury as well. I've got a feeling like, what are you boys saying about the games now, the exciting stuff?
Listen, I'll tell you this, Terry. In fact, I don't know if you covered this, Terry, because I just joined the stream now, but Romano says that it looks like we're looking for an interim manager for the end of the season. So meaning that I don't think a Zidane is going to be coming in at this point in the season. I think they're looking for someone to kind of do what I suggested, get to the summer and then reassess. But I think on the topic of games coming up, Terry, this is like, I feel like a massive weight just got carried off my shoulders. I can go back to not enjoying United play again, because who knows if the football will be better under Carrick or someone else, but there's hope back in me that, okay, we can do things in these games, because I truly believed every game we went into with Ollie. The Watford preview, everyone was predicting 4-1. I told them, I don't feel confident whatsoever playing Watford. That should tell you everything you need to know. And on the topic of Van de Beek, Sancho, I don't even know, Bailly maybe. These guys, I think themselves should be really eager to get into these games, because they have a new lease of life. They have a new opportunity that they can take with both hands. Because quite clearly under the former manager, it didn't matter how many poor games so-and-so could play or so-and-so can play, they're never getting dropped. Van de Beek now should be allowed, listen, you have a new, what's the word? A new canvas. Everything in the past is forgotten. Go show us what you can do. And we saw against Watford, this is a damn good player that we have been neglecting for months because of our manager's inability to play with a technical midfielder like that in midfield. Let's see what you can do now. So I'm really excited to see what these guys can do in these next few games. Will we beat Villarreal? It's not a guarantee because we fired Ollie. It's not a guarantee whatsoever. But at least I can go into that game honestly excited again. I've been saying so many times, KJ, you keep asking me on these shows, do you want us to lose? What is your feeling? I keep saying I'm indifferent. I feel numb. I don't really feel anything watching United anymore.
You fake American fans, bruv. You fake American fans out here.
I'm death now, man. Let's see what we can do.
You know what's interesting? I'm seeing though on socials. Obviously, I posted a few things about Carrick taking over. There's almost this Carrick's worse than Solskjaer. Oh, it's going to be worse. We're going to do it again. I don't know who influences certain Man United fans. Maybe it's their own thoughts, and maybe it's certain influencers that are kicking off about the Carrick thing today. Do you feel negatively, KJ, about at all about Carrick taking charge of a couple of games until the new manager is appointed?
No, literally the whole Carrick thing is a non-panic thing at all. You know what I mean? He's only there to take training and maybe take a game or two while we're getting into him. I don't see anyone I've seen people in the chat this is the new United under Carrick. Bruv, if the new United under Carrick is one game and we win, then bring that new Carrick, bring that new United. You know what I mean? He ain't going to be managing the team for the rest of the season. So I'm relaxed about the Carrick situation. We're not going to sign him on as the head coach, so that's fine. I don't think he even wants the head coach position right now anyway. So it's not like he's looking for it either. In terms of how I feel about the upcoming games, though, I'm waiting to see. I'm just going to wait and see. I'm not going to go too overboard. I'm not gonna go oh yeah, this is it. We're gonna be back once we get the interim now. I'm sorry, let's wait and see. I'm looking forward to the lineup. Hopefully we get to see Donny. Hopefully we get to see Sancho. Maybe a surprise, maybe a Delo or a Tellers or something. I'm just looking forward to maybe some changes and a change up finally, instead of just seeing the same 13 players all the time. We might actually get some rotation, some difference. And I don't think the style of play will change too much. I don't think there's a lot to change in the space of a few days. But at least we will get to try out new combinations that we have not seen and give them a chance. Because all that United fans were asking is, Ollie, what you've been doing is not working. Change it up and give that a chance for a few games. But he refused to do so, and he died. He died on the sword of McTominay, Fred.
And do you know what else is in my mind as well right now? You remember, like all I've heard for like 3 or 4 weeks is, Terry, stop talking about Ollie being sacked. He's here for the rest of the season. Deal with it. How'd you like them apples? It was always going to happen. He was always going to lose his job. It's just the Glazers took their time. We wasted this game. I'm excited about it, to be honest. I've just had a reply from.
Can I just say? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go on, bro. Go on, bro.
No, but Brendan's got his hand up, so I'll let him go after him.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Terry, Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic basically says that Kieran McKenna and Mike Phelan are still going to assist Michael Carrick in the upcoming games. They have not left the club. I don't know if that was already discussed, but the whole coaching
and that makes
Phelan's the one that I don't want.
Yeah, but that just makes sense. For you're saying, it's like you still need someone to like put the cones down. Like you still need staff to get what I mean. Like if you got rid of all of them today, there's no one to literally take. There's no one ready to walk in the job. You can't actually remove them all today.
Unless you legit lined up a whole coaching team with the manager ready to go. Like literally all of them have moved from where they live to Manchester and are ready to go like that. You can't just get rid of everyone at the same time.
I'm just a bit worried.
Guys, have you seen what else? But have you seen what else? What else Laurie Whitwell has said? It says Man United had no plans to dismiss Solskjaer, but Watford made it clear that changes were needed. See, that's the line from the club into Laurie Whitwell. That's where, like, I respect Laurie Whitwell, but I don't want to hear you. Don't even write that line. The club have told you that today. Of course, like, there's no way yesterday the result happened and they suddenly went, oh, do you think we should sack him? There's no way. This conversation's been going on for a long. We know this as well because so many other credible sources have said to us. They've been talking to Zidane, talking to Rodgers. You know, again, I don't like to speak about the Sun, but it was Custis at the Sun that only like 10 days ago said it's not an if, it is a when he gets sacked. And now, like, listen, Laurie Whitwell is a very credible journalist. He has a lot of insight to the clubs. They're the little bits that bother me where it's like, don't put that sentence in because that's just, we know that's Joel Glazer sent you like the second text. Oh, by the way, mate, please add this in as well. Like, that's one of them ones there. Go on.
About that line, I don't know why they thought that was a smart line to put in anyway. Like, this is what I mean. Like, this is what this club, just like, I laugh at them because I was like, because their PR is the worst PR. For a club that focuses so much on PR, they've got the worst PR department in history. They don't actually help our cause. They don't calm us down. They make us more angry and more annoyed. They just need to be quiet.
Yeah, I hear you on that completely. I'm going to throw a few more people in now to have their say as well. The secret phrase guess here, once a Gunnar, always a Gunnar. That is not the phrase, but thank you very much for guessing in relation to that. Pav is here with us now this morning. What are you saying, Pav? How you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I mean, the deed's done. He's gone. A lot of people obviously backtracking and all the stuff that they said about they feel sorry for him now after abusing him, like personally and all that. But I think it's going to get worse, a bit more worse before it gets better. I can't see us doing anything against the next 3 teams. I think the confidence of these players, the morale, is at the lowest point I've ever seen a Man United team be at. The fact that Romano said we're looking for an interim until the summer makes me believe that this ownership and the board have written a season off. I don't think we're going to get Champions League football next year, but we'll have to see when the time comes. But if they're looking for an interim, I have no idea, apart from Laurent Blanc, I have no idea who's going to be suitable to come in and do a job. Ideally, I wanted Ten Hag. I'd be happy with Zidane. I like Ten Hag's football. I like the way he plays. I like the way he uses youth with a mixture of experienced players. he would be my ideal choice, along with Van der Sar and forgot the other guy's name who works with him, the Arsenal legend.
Overmars.
Yeah, that's it. That would be my ideal team to come in. And if this pagan Woodward leaves, Van der Sar should be taking his job, because if what you just said with that line with the quotes that just come out from United, that the 3 years they've been building for this, you need to bring in someone who's going to carry on building it, not have Woodward who's going to go backtrack on what he does and throw everything out the water. Because now that Ole's gone, if he's the one who's changed everything in this club, then they need to replace him with someone who knows the same morals, the same system, the same things that Man United should be doing.
And that's also the thing about the Michael Carrick situation, where again, the manager at the helm hasn't been able to get the very best out of this. But if we have created a club ethos, a club system that we've all been begging for, you can't kick everyone. You can't kick everybody out of the club because the manager goes. It's not if you create a Bayern Munich-esque, Ajax-esque club system, there isn't an overhaul every time a manager is sacked. There is an element of bringing some coaches in, but it's a plug-and-play solution. The manager goes, but a lot of the system stays. That's how you create the continuity. Maybe you add three or four new coaches in with him, but you need to keep an element of continuity. Yes, mate. Go on. Sorry.
So no, just because you mentioned the Carrick, which was bringing to my point just before the Belgian went before. One thing I'm intrigued to see is because there were reports when everything was kicking off regarding players being upset and the coaching staff not really being happy with Ole switching things up last minute. Carrick is part of that coaching staff. So one thing I'll be intrigued to look at and I'll be keeping an eye on is if that is true. Carrick was as part of the coaching staff, as we know, and if he was helping set the team up in a certain way to play a style of football, but it was at the last minute Ole was changing things. Now Carrick may have this opportunity during the interim period. We may actually get an inkling to see, was Ole sticking to the plan, or was it just the same? Now I know you may not be able to see it over the first couple of games. I get it, because there's got to be a system that's embedded. But if we do see drastic change in terms of how we set up and how we play and the personnel, and it's consistent for 3 or 4 games, because we've got big games, so the team's going to have to be consistent in terms of player profile. Then maybe we can look at it and go, well, Ole, really, you should have been trusting your coaches a bit more, because then we can have that argument to say coaches weren't as bad as we thought.
Totally agree with that. Listen, Pav, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro, and all your support. Top man. Thank you. Usman's going to be on the show with us next. Sorry, you're going to say something, Cage?
Oh, yeah, I was about to say, people also need to understand that when a new manager comes in, it's highly likely that one of McKenna or Carrick, or maybe even both, will still stay. Because
I can't lie. I think there needs to be an overhaul of the coaching staff.
I know people want an overhaul, but
yeah,
Carrick's a young coach whose managers above him have been Mourinho and Jose, and Ole, and McKenna is a well-regarded coach. Even though at United it's not gone right, he's been a well-regarded coach for years. Tottenham loved him. You know what I mean? I saw he won them the under-23 league. So there's potential in those two coaches. Now, I feel like Carrick should go to a lower level to learn coaching. Just about to say that. Maybe go back to coaching the youth players. That's where his talents lie. But there's a world that I can easily see that one or both of them still remain with the coaching staff, because they might see actually there's talented coaches here. They just need the right guidance with my coaches that are going to come in, plus them. There might be something to work with there. So I don't see...
I think the next manager should have the final say on that. I don't think it should be a board thing. I think they should allow... I mean, I'm sure it won't happen knowing how this club is run, but I think the next manager of Manchester United should be able to go in and say, this is my coaching staff.
That was going to be my point. Again, if Zidane... I'm using Zidane as the example. If Zidane comes in, speaks to the coaching staff and says, I want McKenna to stay, then I'm happy with it. I think that as a manager, that's an element of where you've got to do that. The only thing the club has to maintain is whatever this foundation is we've built, whatever this system is that we've built, whatever this process is, Zidane uses his style and technique to bring our vision to life. That's how it has to work. I employ people now to come into the terrace and help me. They bring my vision to life. They don't go, I'm doing it my way, Terry. No, you're making the thumbnails look how like my new thumbnail designer, not the ones for this show, because I had to do these ones myself because I'm basic. But he doesn't just design me a thumbnail. I tell him what I want it to look like, and he goes and does it. Do you get what I mean? That's what we need to do now. And that's a much smaller, watered down example. But Zidane, this is what we want. Can you deliver that? Yes, we'll go do it then. But it's our vision. Usman's with us now on the line. What are you saying, brother?
Yeah, man. First of all, I'd like to shout out all my fellow Oleouters, man. We have been...
Yo!
What happened?
Eye test.
That's eye test! Eye test!
Wait!
Eye test! Eye test! Fucking eye test! Oh my God!
Wait.
Yo,
you did because Ollie's gone. You've done a face reveal.
Eye test is here.
That is the greatest thing Ollie has done. The greatest thing about this sacking is eye test bringing his face. Yes, my brother.
Yeah, man.
You're
So
shining, bro.
I want to shout out all my fellow Oleouters, man. We've been through so much, man.
To the world, baby.
We've been through so much. We've been through the trenches. We've been through war with the Ollie inners. Like, it's been so hard. And now it's finally our time to celebrate. I'm enjoying myself right now. I'm smoking that Ollie hashish. Bro, I'm enjoying myself, man. Like, for real. The Ollie hashish, man, I'm enjoying myself. This, like, after the war I've been through. After the war I've been through with the Ollie inners, bro, we deserve this. To all my fellow Oleouters, we deserve this, man. And listen, I want to address KJ and Terry. Listen, man. Like, I respect you lot, but you lot don't deserve to be part of this party because you lot joined the. You lot. It's only been this season where you've really been on.
No, listen, bro.
I've been telling you
eye test. We always have these debates, and you know I've got respect for you. This time last year, you came in here and apologized and said you were wrong about Ollie. And that you got it wrong, and he was actually a very good manager. So you did, So just quickly, you did do that. And I'm not going to speak for myself. I'll speak on behalf of KJ here. KJ and Neeks and these guys, Sunshine the same, who isn't on the show as regularly, but come here. We were all talking about what we said before. It wasn't. We never said to you that we think Ollie's good enough to win the major trophies. It was we were focusing on other things that were more important. And interestingly, if you look at what I haven't seen what you've said, but if you look at what Man United fans are now focused on and worried about is who are we going to bring in? Could Carrick have a good run of 5 or 6 games and then we accidentally appoint him? Are we going to go for a manager that's 5th or 6th on the list rather than going out and spending the money to land our number 1 target? That's always been my focus. It's never been about we have to keep Ollie here because he's a legend, because he's brilliant. That's like route 1 of problems. It's what we do after that. I'm still not confident that we get it right after Ollie. The point is, if we get it wrong, we'll still be in the same situation. Therefore, the focus on Ollie, I think my problem with Ollie outers was a lot of you believed sack Ollie and we'll just be a great team again. And you weren't looking beyond Ollie and at the deeper lying problems at the club. That's where these arguments happen. That's all it was for me. If you'd have just said, I don't think Ollie's good enough to win us a major trophy, but I know that the Glazers, are rubbish and it's highly likely we're going to win with the way they run the club, there would never have been the debates. But it was this notion of, if you sack Ollie and because you wanted Brendan Rodgers, sack Ollie, bring in Brendan Rodgers, we win the Premier League, you basically said. Like, that is very different from you being right. It's a deeper conversation at play, is what I'm saying.
Wait. Do you still want Brendan Rodgers?
Of course.
Oh,
I think
man.
You're
doing so well, bro.
I'll just say one thing. You know what?
Howler.
Fair enough. We've had many back and forths, and obviously, you've got what you've wanted. I'll just say, I remember having a debate with you, and you said the Glazers aren't an issue. Has that changed for you? Do you now see?
That's a lie. I've never said that. I remember coming onto this stream and telling you lot when I even have the video. It was when Donny van der Beek was announced. I came on and I said, listen, the Glazers are a big issue. And Terry and you, KJ, were backing the Glazers. You could go onto the video where
I know what video you're talking. We weren't backing the Glazers. We were looking at it where you said they don't spend money after doing certain things, and we disagreed because they just dropped £50 million on Donny van der Beek. At no point, again, I think sometimes what happens is people hear what they want to hear, and I know I'm guilty of doing that as well. I know KJ has it, and I've never backed what the Glazers have done. My difference is this. It's like with when we employed Myrtle and Fletcher in this kind of role in technical roles. I'm open-minded. So I'm not just going to, because I don't like the Glazers, slam every decision they make. I'm always willing to see the fruits of that labor, which was why I was willing to see the situation with Ole play out, because I'm interested to know, after what they've built, are they going to continue on this process? Because that longer-term vision was always more important than the in-out debate with the manager, because we'd already been through it 3 or 4 times. But we could probably debate this until the cows come home, because you interpret it one way, we see it another, which is really good, mate. But in terms of the next manager to come in, who do you want, brother? Who do you want to come in?
Oh my days, man! It feels like I'm in a candy shop. Zinedine Zidane, Enrique, Ten Hag, bro. There's so many options, man. Like, I'm looking at the options, man. It's too much for me. Like I said, Enrique, Zidane, Ten Hag, Brendan Rodgers.
Don't throw Rodgers in that
Bro,
discussion. Bro. You just named
Why
3
not?
elite
Why not,
managers and then said Rodgers.
Bro, Rodgers.
We legit 2 seconds ago just talked about how the Glazers are an issue, and you're acting like we've got a candy shop because our owners know what they're doing.
Bro, this is a candy shop, man. Like, I'm seeing all the options, bro. I can't wait. Like, for me, I don't mind any of these managers.
You know what you're doing? You know what you're doing? You know when you're a kid, yeah, and you're going through the store and you see all the candy, you see all the toys, and you're like, yes, I want this and I want that. And then you ask your mom and they're like, no. That is basically what's going to happen to you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I still have hope, man.
Yeah, I have hope as well, mate, that we get it right this time. But that's the whole point I was saying earlier, bro. I have hope that we'll get it right, but I have reservations because of past things. And like I've said before, even if we employ a world-class manager, my focus is still how we run this football club, the decisions that we make. You know, there is something in the fact that we've renewed 2 managers' contracts, and within months of renewing their contracts, everything's fallen apart behind the scenes, which tells you there's problems within the squad. There's problems with player relationships with the management. There's something wrong to get where I'm coming from. That's a Glazer issue, because they should know that these problems exist before making these commitments. We as fans, our opinions are always... We're always like one opinion away from being laughed at and ridiculed because we don't have inside information. Even journalists don't have the insight that the Glazers have at the club because they own the damn thing, right? They shouldn't be making the volume of mistakes that they do. So I'm a little bit like this. I've got my preferences on manager, but I am going to hold... I'm not going to... With no one we appoint, am I going to say, that's it, Champions League pending, Premier League pending, we're back. Whether it's Rodgers, Zidane, Carrick, full-time employment, I'm going to sit back and go, I'm happy or sad, but let's wait and see. Because none of us know how it's going to turn out. I've always said some of the biggest Ole outers were the biggest Ole inners when he went on that run. They were like, see, if he was here all season, we'd have won the league, you know? And then they changed massively. I'm just going to remain like I was with Ole. I'm going to support the manager that comes in and want him to win, but I'm going to focus on the proper problem at this club, which is the Glazers. That will always trigger people that don't like a manager because they feel like you're not putting enough emphasis on the manager going. But everybody's concerns now about what we're going to do after Ole have been what I've been saying for 2 or 3 years. Like, that's why I would never... My focus was him. If I know the club is being run right, trust me, if over the next 2 years we believe the club is being run very well, you will see my focus be on managers if things aren't working. I swear that on my children. When we are convinced the club's being run right, and then we're still failing, I will focus on the managers. Until we're run right behind the scenes, the manager isn't the important issue, never will be. But I test absolutely...
Wait, where you get that United shirt from?
That was bootleg tell, bro. I can't lie.
The Glazers, man. My mom knitted it. Don't worry.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Listen, everyone that has tuned into the show today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. KJ, Sunshine, Lies, all the callers. Thank you. ITES, great to actually meet you, mate. And look, as you know, we have a lot of heated debates, but what I love about you, unlike some of the viewers that get in their feelings over it, which is weird, it's just a bit of football fun, a bit of debate. You get some things right, you get some things wrong. And by the way, your boy could be to Arsenal soon. Isak could be on his way to Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? And we are going to call out bad takes. We might have been wrong about Ole, maybe. But remember, this guy here, ITES, said that Alexander Isak is better than Haaland. I'm just putting that out there. So we get some right, we get some wrong. But that's the beauty of what we do. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. We're back after the Tottenham Leeds game later on today. Until then, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And